Ever since Dupin's first visit to it, the Pointe du Raz had been on his list of favorite places, outside of tourist season. There were two reasons for today's trip. The first was Le Fumoir de la Pointe du Raz, a new fish smokehouse nearby that Riwal had raved about. They smoked the finest fish from the dangerous strait there, most notably lieu jaune, a particular kind of cod. They were generally smoked with the incomparable flavors of the smoke from Breton oaks and with a secret mixture of various types of pepper and spices. The smokehouse belonged to the cousin of a cousin of Riwal's. Dupin hadn't been listening properly at the time. Riwal's distant family relationships, which included friends he considered family, always baffled the commissaire. In any case, Riwal's glowing report had persuaded Dupin to visit the fish smokehouse, and he and Claire were having their first evening off together in weeks, because Claire had been working at the hospital more or less without a break. Lieu jaune was her favorite kind of fish, and she liked smoked fish in general. Dupin wanted to surprise her. The second reason for the trip was the renovation work at the police station. It had been going on for 4 weeks now and was an absolute nightmare. The company they had hired had promised the running of the station would be completely unaffected, which was nonsense, even in theory. And of course, that wasn't how it had turned out in practice either. Utter chaos had broken out on the very first day. Everything affected the running of the station, not to mention the added noise, dust, and dirt. And of course, the painter having assured them the whole thing will be totally odorless, there was an immediate, unbearable stench of paint. Even throwing open all the windows and doors hadn't made any difference. The only good thing about it was that the stench of paint and solvents masked the hideous underlying smell of the building that had been driving Dupin mad since his first day of work, although he was the only person who noticed it. Dupin hoped the smell might even be completely gone by the end of the renovation. All of the staff at the station had made a break for it in the last few weeks. Only an ever-changing skeleton crew held down the fort. Everyone had constantly been looking for new and increasingly imaginative excuses for avoiding the office. Outrageous incidents such as a raided carrot patch or unauthorized mussel harvesting on the beach suddenly had to be investigated at the scene. Sometimes they went out in 3s or 4s. They had taken up ancient open cases again, the theft of 3 surfboards last October and the disappearance of a pink dinghy in the harbor. Everyone had been glad when there really had been a crime. During the demolition of an old house in Pont-Aven, 600 Belgian gold coins from 1870 had been found. A real treasure trove. It was valued at a few €100,000, and the find sparked wild speculation. At the beginning of the week, even Dupin's assistant, Nolwenn, had reached the end of her rope. A bucket of thick paint had leaked outside her door, and she had stepped right in it. For weeks beforehand, she had been gamely trying to remain calm, but after this incident, she had promptly taken several days off. This had instantly made Dupin nervous, all the more so because she had given no details whatsoever about when she planned to return to the office. Over the years, through vast amounts of overtime, Nolwenn must have saved up several months' worth of holiday. Dupin didn't dare check. Nolwenn, being absent for quite a long time, especially in protest, would, and there was no doubt about this, end in disaster sooner or later. She and her husband had lost no time setting off on a cycling tour that had originally been scheduled for September. A very special cycling tour inspired by the Breton bestseller Bistrot Braise, Le Tour de Bretagne des Vieux Cafés à Vélo, which was a guide to the oldest, most authentic pubs that Brittany had to offer. The pubs were expertly handpicked. The tour literally went from village to village. More for pleasure than exercise by the sound of it, Nolwenn had chosen the inland route through gorgeous, secluded scenery. She had suggested Riwal and Dupin take time off too, and so Riwal had promptly decamped to Belle-Île with his wife and their 2 children.